We are profusely sorry. That's the apology from the GES to parents, guardians, students, and all stakeholders in the education sector as it justifies the rescheduling of reopening date for final year senior high school students. The GES says the rescheduling of the reopening day is to prevent congestion in the midst of COVID-19, following advice from CHS. Yakub Abubakar, who is the president of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, said it does not augur well to congest the schools while we are in a pandemic. We'll hear from him shortly. First, listen to some students at the Kejabi Asato SHS in the OT region as they describe the decision as a bad one.
The transportation that we spend and we go back again, it is a lot of money. So because of that, we can't go back again.
Where are you coming from?
Bimbila.
Bimbila?
Yeah.
I mean, postpone.
Oh, to me, I think it's a very bad decision. And this will affect our academic. Because when we went home, most of us were not able to learn because nobody was around to motivate us. So as we've come, even if the teachers are around, they will guide us. But now that we have to go home, it won't help us at all. I think the government have to do something. Realize the case, we have some few months to write our paper. Are we going to fail or we are going to pass? We've stayed in the house and it's very, very bad. The government have to do something about it.
The decision taken by the government is very bad.
Why do you say so?
Looking at our academics, we didn't do anything. We are now in Form 3, but most of the Form 2 topics we have not treated. We stayed in the house and couldn't go for classes because of the works in the house. And now we are here for the masters to help us. They are asked to go back to the house again. And looking at the distance and the money we pay as transportation, it's too bad. My mother borrowed money for me to transport myself from the school, from the house to the school. And here lies the case, I have to go back within 3 days. I came only Friday, and today, Tuesday, I have to go back to the house again. How is she going to get the money again? She needs to borrow, and borrowing, in addition to how she borrowed again, will bring a lot of burden, because if I go to the house again, we need to struggle to pay those people, and coming back, she needs to get money again. So looking at it, the decision is very bad. They need to do something about that. How are we going to write and pass exams, being in Form 3 and Form 2 things, you have not even learned it, and we have about only 2 months to write? It's too bad. Please, the government should do something about that to help us. Thank you.
Okay.
Please, I'm very, very sad about the decision taken by the government.
Why?
Because we have stayed in the house for too long. As a Form 3 students, we are going to write our WASI, but we don't know what we have learned. And they say WASI just near. Then they say we should go back to the house again. We don't know. And our place too is too far.
Where are you coming from?
Oh, Accra. Sotium. Charlie.
We'll have more students joining us via Zoom to share their concerns about that. But let's head straight to the GES. Cassandra Chum Ampofo is PRO for the institution, and she's joining me via Zoom. Hello, Cassandra. On phone, I must say. Hi, Cassandra. Cassandra, it looks like I lost Cassandra there, but we'll try and raise her back on the line. Well, the headmaster in charge of academic work, Cephas Adanuvo, says the management of the school, the Asato school, would accommodate and feed students who have come from far and will let them leave tomorrow to their various houses.
We got this information a couple of hours ago through our headmaster, who immediately called that management should meet and discuss what to do. And then this was what he told us to implement, that all those from the catchment area, we talk of Hohwe, Pando, Jasika, Dodipapasi, we allow them to go after enjoying lunch this afternoon. But those from very, very far places like Yendi, Tamale, Wulensi, Saboba, Triponi, yes, and Co, we allow them to stay on because they cannot go back today. We look after them today. Tomorrow morning they take their breakfast, and then we can now allow them to go. Yes. When they got the information, some of them felt disappointed because they had stayed home for 28 days. They were coming to continue with the academic work before the information got, and they were not too happy. But we explained to them that it's just for their own good, because the directive that the headmaster showed to us gave us assurance that the 10,080 hours for academic work will not be lost. We'll still get it back. So if that is the situation, then there's no cause for alarm.
So how is it going to affect management decision on academic work here in your school?
We wouldn't be affected in any way because we were expecting about 880 students in addition to the 1,500 we already have for first year group. So they're not coming now. We will be better placed to organize some one or two things before they come. So we are okay with that. That's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's get on the phone and get some responses from the Ghana Education Service. Cassandra Chumampofo is the PRO, and she's joining me via phone. Hello, Cassandra. Thank you very much for your time. Right. I'm losing Cassandra. I've lost Cassandra again. But let me get on Zoom. I have some students who are joining me right now. Hafiz Shaban is with St. Thomas Aquinas Senior High School. He's a general science student as well. Hello, Hafiz. Okay, I will get to hear from Hafiz. Afenyo Esinam is also a final year student, a general science student at Achimota School. Hello, Esinam. All right. Michelin Wemega is a final year student at Holy Child. Michelin Wemega is a final year student at Holy Child. Michelin, I almost massacred your name. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Okay, great. Let me start with the guy first, so that he doesn't feel intimidated by woman power. Hafiz, how are you doing? Right. What happened? Did you go to school and got told to go back home?
Pardon?
Hafiz, tell me what happened. Okay. I don't know which of you can hear me. Michelin, can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay, Hafiz, you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What happened in your case? Did you go to school and got told that you should go back home?
Yeah, I did. I'm even in my uniform now.
Okay, so describe to me what happened.
Actually, I already had the news we were supposed to report today. So quickly in the morning, I prepared and took my leave. So when I got there, I realized the whole school was empty and it was just me there. So I was given the news, so I had to return.
You went to school and it was just you in school. Which other date did you have?
Just on campus.
Which other date did you have apart from today?
Pardon?
Which other date did you have to return to school apart from today?
For me, I had only this date, like just today.
Okay, so they told you to come today, and then you went to school, and there was nobody except you. Okay, Michelin, what is your own story? What happened?
Actually, I was home. And then I heard the news that we are not supposed to go because the date has been changed to fit me.
When did you get this information?
This morning.
And you initially knew that you were going to school today, but then this morning you got the information that you shouldn't come.
Yes, please.
Did you get the reasons why?
I didn't get the reasons why, but I heard it was later broadcasted on the radio, but I haven't heard it.
Okay. As a student, we've spoken to some of your colleagues that think that this is a bad decision. I'm wondering what you think. What do you think about what's happening?
I actually don't support this.
Why?
But there's nothing to do.
Why don't you support it? What's the reason? Now, the reason we understand what is happening is that they want to avoid congestion, which is a good thing because essentially you don't want students, being in school and then contracting coronavirus, etc. So that's the whole idea. Why do you think it's a bad idea?
It's not a bad idea, but for we, the Form 3 preparing for WASI, I didn't think we should be staying.
Okay.
But that's what we have now. So
then again, the idea is that for you in Form 3 and Hafiz as well, you will be able to learn on your own because you've been through the system, you've been through Form 1, Form 2. So at Form 3, you are masters and you should be able to learn on your own and write the paper without necessarily, I mean, the Form 1s have never been to senior high school before, so they have to be kept in school. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. Because for we've been in school, like you said, so we are used to the system, but for the Form 1s, they haven't. So I think it's not bad.
Okay. So those that I spoke to, those that my colleagues spoke to in the Volta region are saying that they've been at home for a very long time, and they've not covered some of the syllabus for the third year, for which they will be assessed at WASI. Does that reflect how you feel as well?
Yes, that's the same way I feel, because there are some topics you haven't treated.
Like what? Do you remember? Do you remember any of those topics to share?
Yes. In chemistry, there's redox reaction we haven't treated. In physics, with physics, we are almost done. We are almost done with the syllabus, and I'm sure when we go back, we can finish before time. In E-Math too, we have quite a few topics to treat. And then in Commerce, those are my electives. And then in Commerce, there are some topics we haven't treated. And I think when we get to we can treat them. But for now, I don't think we can finish before time.
I'll come back and ask you how you feel. But Hafiz, let me bring you back in. So when you went home within this period of, was it midterm vacation, did you get the chance to learn on your own? And do you feel you are well prepared for the WASI?
For me, I've engaged in a couple of classes, so it's cool for me. I had teachers teaching me, so it was cool. But then, I know it's a task for me, so I had to do my own personal stuff, like read some stuff before time. So I think if I should get a lot more teaching from my teachers when we resume, I can do something else.
Okay, so it doesn't sound like a very bad situation for you both. Hang on for me, don't go away. Let me talk to the GES and let's see if we can get some answers to some of the concerns that your other colleagues and yourself have raised. Cassandra Chumampofo is the PRO for the Ghana Education Service, and she's joining us on the phone. Cassandra, it's good to have you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, you too. Many thanks.
Right. On your social media, the GES's social media handle, Facebook, for example, you say we are sorry. It looks as if there was there miscommunication? What happened?
Well, Gifty, let me first of all express our sincere apologies to everyone. I must say that the situation is not pleasant, especially for parents who had already, dispatched their students, or some were even on their way to school and this communication came. We acknowledge that indeed it came late because parents had prepared already to take their wards to school. Some were even there. As I speak with you, we are told some are even on campus that they'll be given a place to sleep and then they would leave. We acknowledge that. We apologize profusely. We really apologize for that. But just as I indicated in the press release, we had a meeting with an online meeting with CHAS, and looking at the situation, we realized that when we allow them to spend their vacation now, and then later they have an uninterrupted class till they write their WASI, it would be a prudent decision. And that's basically the reason why we had to finally then see that again, in order not to have the Form 3s, the Form 2s, and then the Form 2 goals, and then the Form 1s all on campus at the same time, which maybe in a way may at a point cause some kind of overcrowding or whatever. It's better that we give these students who are going to write their exams that ample time so that they will not have any break. And so as I indicated, they were supposed to be in school today and then vacate on the 28th of May. And so they have vacation from 28th to 29th June. So that month period is what we have shifted forward so that during that time there wouldn't be any break, but they would have a full session till they write their WASI. They begin in September. And so I would want to assure our students, the parents, and everybody that in as much as we have postponed their reopening to 5th May, it would not affect their instructional period. As a matter of fact, they are supposed to have 1,080 hours before their final examination. I assure them that none, not a single day will be lost, because what we have done, we have, looked through it with CHAS, and we are very sure that they will not be affected in any way. So it means that within the period that previously they would have spent, like 28 May to 29 June, they wouldn't have any break. They would continue, and then the practical sessions for the final exam that will begin in August, and then September, the actual exam will continue. So the last session complete maybe in October.
Clarify for me again the dates within which they will be in school.
So they would be in school. Form 3 now will be in school from the 5th of May till the end of October, that they would finish their last paper.
5th May till end of October?
Yes.
Is that healthy enough for teaching and learning? Isn't that too long a period?
When we talk about instructional days or time, we don't calculate the weekends. As when you look at the weekends and then the holidays that we may find within, it's not really that they are going, and of course within that time they may have a semester, or not even a semester, kind of break for them to, but not necessarily a vacation period, because this is the time that of course, even if they had gone this time, they would all have a month's break, and that is what they are spending now at home. That's what they are spending now at home. Even if they had gone today, they would have had that break on the 29th of May, and then 28th of May, and then to the 29th of June. Yes. So that month period is what we have shifted. And it would not. That's what I want to assure our students and then the parents, that in fact, this will not affect their instructional period. It will not affect their instructional period. But again, Gifty, we apologize for the late communication. We sincerely apologize for this.
Well, once that apology comes in, it becomes a bit difficult to follow up or exactly on what again happened. But you're saying that between 5th May and end of October is good enough time because they'll still have the weekends.
Of course. When they start the exams, you realize that during the exam period, you don't have all of them right. And, it depends on the course, that the subject that you are reading. In August, some will begin their practicals. The home economics, the science people that do practicals and all of that. When we enter September, it depends. The timetable varies. They don't have exams to us, so there's a different space for them to learn, to prepare and all of that. But we are ready for them, and then let me just say and assure our students that they will not lose out on any of the periods when they go back to school.
Okay.
Parents are to be rest assured. But again, we apologize that we did not communicate so early.
Cassandra, just hang on for me. I've got two of our young friends joining us on Zoom. I'm sure you would love to hear from them as well. Let me just listen to their thoughts. I do have a parent as well joining us via Zoom. Michelin, did you hear the GES, the response we're getting from the GES? They're saying that you'll be in school between 5th May till the end of October. That's good time enough for you to be well prepared to write your exams. What do you think?
It's actually a good time.
Okay, so you're good with that, right?
Yes, we are okay.
Okay, I don't know if Hafiz
will be able to cover some topics.
Okay, I don't know if Hafiz feels the same way. Hafiz.
As for me, even before she came in to give this speech, I personally I never had problem with changing of the dates, because I felt like these people, they are experts and they are serving the nation, so they have us in mind. So any decision they take, they are expert decisions and they are made for our good. And looking at the time frame, I think definitely we'll be able to cover some of the stuff. For the science students, especially the practicals, I think it's much enough of a time to do more. Yeah, so I'm actually happy.
You're actually happy. Interesting. Okay. I do have a parent, Gertrude Tennyson Razak. I'll engage you, Madam Gertrude, shortly. Let me bring Esinam in. Esinam, I lost you earlier. So you've had the response that we're getting from the GES. Essentially, you will go back to school between 5th and on 5th, and you'll be there till end of October. Is that too long for you to stay away from home?
I feel like it's a very long time because being in school has a lot of activities. And besides, since the president has cancelled all the extracurricular activities, I feel like that time is not enough, but we can manage since we are very determined to pass our SC.
That's a bunch of, Cassandra, that's a bunch of very hopeful students right there for you. Cassandra, are you still there?
And let me assure the students again that we have them at heart. Just like one of them said, whatever decision that we take, we have their interest at heart, and we are determined to ensure that we teach them, we cover the lesson. So my again, their story. School and then pass out again.
Right. Okay, hang on, don't go yet. Let me bring in a parent. I've had a number of parents call me this afternoon and not very excited at all. Gertrude Tennyson Razak has joined us on Zoom. She is one of the parents who actually drove to the school today and had to drive back with her child. Madam Gertrude, thank you very much. What happened? How did you get the information?
I think we got the information when we got to the school gate. So we were going to enter Wesley Girls to drop my daughter, and the security man says, you have to go back. And I'm like, why? Because today is reopening. She said, oh, madam, they just sent a message that reopening is on the 5th. And I said, no way. So I asked him that I wanted to drive to the administration. So I went, and there were parents there standing, like confused, didn't know what was going on. And that was when the assistant headmaster told us that the reopening has been rescheduled to 5th May. And we were really disappointed because to be able to take a daughter to a boarding school, the shopping involved, the time, we got up at dawn. In fact, we got to Cape Coast before 8 a.m. You know, so you can imagine the frustration and the stress.
I don't even want to talk about the traffic, so I can imagine. But then again, the GES is saying that in terms of academic work, there will be no consequences, dire consequences for your ward. And regarding the shopping, you can hold on to it till 5th May, isn't it?
I pray the food will stay where it's supposed to be because you can never be so sure when it comes to children. But what can we do?
The GES is actually apologizing.
I know. I am finding it difficult to believe. But if that is what they are saying, we'll believe it will be done.
Why are you finding it difficult to believe?
Academic lessons.
Why are you finding it difficult?
I am not sure they can finish.
Well, they have between May to October. That's a long time.
Let's give them the benefits of the doubt.
The GS is apologizing to parents like yourself who were stranded today. What's your response?
What can we do? We can only hope for the better. For the best in the future. But I think when we are dealing with parents, especially those of us who have to travel, if you can give us information like 48 hours or 24 hours, it's better. Because it's not fair to drive all the way from Accra, spend fuel and time, only to be told to bring back your ward.
Right. Let me wrap up this conversation. Cassandra, I'll give you the final word, but let me start wrapping up with our young friends who are joining us on Zoom. Hafiz, what do you have to say? Final words? Any final words? So we wrap up, Hafiz?
I will say like how my mom said, they would have to give us some notice ahead of time. But yes, so I believe all the decisions they took, as I said earlier on, were in our interest. So I think next time we should give notice ahead of time, and I think I'm happy overall. I'm happy for the time frame I have to cover up some stuff. I think it's a good decision.
Okay, Afenyo Esinam, you are a final year general science at Chimota. Esinam, what final words do you have? Esinam, you're muted.
I feel like we can try our best to do what we can, but the time is not that much, but I feel like we can do a lot. Because if you are really determined to study, even though we've not completed most of our topics in the syllabus. You can do something. You can try.
You can do something. You can try. That's very hopeful. Thank you for your thoughts there. Michelin, Omega, final year student, Holy Child. Michelin, what are your final words?
Okay, so I think for the time we have left at home, we can do something on our own, and then before we return to school, we'll at least be at the verge of finishing with our syllabus, and then for the time we'll be spending in school from now till from that 5th May to whenever. I think it's also not bad. At least we won't be able to come home to where we'll be distracted, but everything will be okay and fine.
I like that very perspective, that very interesting perspective you add. No more distractions, you study and you get it over and done with. Madam Gertrude, do you have any final words before I end with the GES? Okay, she's gone already. Cassandra, let's wrap up with you. I know you've apologized, so don't apologize again. Your final words. Okay, I've lost Cassandra as well, but that's okay. I've been having this conversation, very interesting conversation, by the way, with Hafiz Shaban, a student with St. Thomas Aquinas, Michelin Romega, Holy Child School, and then, of course, from Achimota Secondary School, we had Estinam, who also joined us there. Also a parent, Gertrude Tennyson Razak, for that conversation. But still on this education story, some third-year student in Damango and in Deura Japa senior high schools in Damango in the West Gonja municipality of the Savannah region, who also reported to school 2 days ahead of the actual reopening day today, are appealing to government to come to their aid by refunding their transportation fare, among others, to enable them go back home. Because according to them, the COVID-19 pandemic has already taken part of their limited time, and to go back to school means a waste of time. At least they're asking for money to go back. Eliasu Tanko has been speaking with some of them.
For to tell them that what they are doing is not good, it will not help us, because we are final years and we should have been in school by now. So we just, as we are in the house, we were not doing anything, and you said we should come back. We came back today too. You are saying we should go back. What will we be doing in the house?
Me free I'm gonna buy and then rest in bedroom. Domu ye nenye na ye bedlu ise wo kwa lori fe no kra boa no kra wuntimi nti sky ye de buy no ye ntimi nyansa anko o frɛ kra beka se o ye nyeska kra maye nti se den na be ye
na den na house
me su because me kono me nya lori fe anko ise enura kwa na bedru sky wo me nchen nya no amede atoto me niam so sky bia ni me nchen.
From Kumasi, I came, that was yesterday. It's just painful. It's painful because we thought because we are final years, this is our time to study and write our final exams and go. But now that they are saying we should go back, and we don't know what we are even going to do in the house. So it's just painful.
We came back to prepare to write our WASI, but now that they're telling us to go home for 1 month, most of the students, when they go home, they don't get the chance to learn, and that is also going to bring down the WASI rate.
It's doing the educational system like something. We don't even understand now. We are feeling very bad about that issue. Yeah, some of them were just reporting, some of them were just at the entrance coming when they told them that the government said they should go back. So I don't see this thing. I don't even know what we are going to do now. And I want to ask whether how the government is doing the system now. Can we pass?
Those were some final year students from Damango there speaking to my correspondent, Eliasu Tanko. Let's go on Facebook. I want to take a look at the responses we're getting from people on the back of what GES posted. I almost said ECG. But we'll be talking about power shortly. But then take a look. So the Ghana Education Service posted that they're sorry, and that's what you had Cassandra apologize profusely about the miscommunication. Let's get some responses. Mudathir Ibn Zakaria says, if the institution is allowed to be manipulated by government, this is what happens always. The infrastructure government is building wasn't ready, yet they told us everything is okay and double track was over. GES knowing the reality, you kept mute. Why now? He says, shame. Kennedy Opari says, Asemo, poor government, always frustrating the learners. At the end, he says, at the end, the WASI papers will be out for them to write and pass. Poor government, 5% for this government in education. Kanra Johnny says, education under this current government has been handled poorly. Why? There is outcry everywhere. Who cares for the poor? Which people discovered Africans? You generalize it a bit more. But let me just raise Cassandra. I'll come back to the messages. Cassandra has joined us back to wrap up our conversation. Cassandra, I was asking you for your final words after hearing the parent and the young ones who we spoke to. The parent actually is not very optimistic about the time frame, whether or not the student will be able to catch up and whether or not it's healthy enough for them to finish all that they need to study and pass.
Hello, Gifty.
Yes, Cassandra.
Yes. Let me assure the parents that indeed they will be able to cover all their topics within the period. Because even looking at, just like I explained earlier, they had their vacation between 28th to 29th June. That's a month, and that's the same month that we have shifted forward. And we have calculated the instructional hours that they would lose out. And so we pray that they bear with us. And just like I said earlier, we apologize for the late communication. But this decision would definitely give the Form 3 an uninterrupted instructional period until they write their final exam. That is assured.
I said that was a final thought I was taking, but just after I lost you, we heard from Damango, students in Damango, some of whom were saying they came from far away. They're asking for support, financial support, so they can, travel back home because they didn't plan for this.
Well,
is that something you're
that hasn't come to our attention, and thank you. I would have to then inform Director General so that whatever decision management will take. But we told the head that whoever gets on campus and is coming from far, definitely the person should not be sent back because they can't travel back. So the following day, they can go back to their various homes. But the financial bit of it, I think management will have to take a decision on that. I can't speak to it for now.
Okay, that's all right. We'll wait and see, because whether or not they sleep today and have to leave tomorrow, they still don't have the money.
Have to leave.
Exactly, right. Cassandra, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Many thanks.
Cassandra Chumampo there. She speaks for the Ghana Education Service. And this afternoon, they're saying they're sorry. We'll go across the country. Let's speak to our correspondent, find out what parents there as well are saying, what education authorities are also saying. Ilyasu Tanko is joining me from the Northeast region. Ilyasu, what's the reaction so far? Ilyasu, you are on air. Go ahead. Ilyasu has just frozen up on me there. We'll try and, wake him up from the freeze. But let's go to Peter Seno. Peter Seno is in the OT region. Hello, Peter. All right, we'll try and get our correspondents to join us, but let me take you back to Facebook with the comments we're getting from people on the back of the Facebook post by the Ghana Education Service. Keke says the new government and education is nothing but useless, you say? Okay. She says that I had to spend over 100 cedis to get to school before hearing such ambiguous statement. Okay, the truth they say is painful. Take the advice if you like, he says. Akwesi Boache says, you have a professor assisted by a doctor and lawyer heading the institution, and yet no thinking outside the box. Philip Filson Kweku, as it says, free things are mostly expensive. Students have traveled far and upon reaching their schools were told to go back home. What kind of doomsday education is this? Diana Wusu says, after wasting a lot of time due to the pandemic, GES still wants our children to be in the house until May. Ghana, I believe the reason being inadequate accommodation. Let's call a spade and not a small fork. Let's not degenerate our future leaders, you say. Abdul Razak Mumuni says, some have already reported to school, some on their way. This could have been avoided. Phyllis Boateng says this education policies under Akufo-Addo is not serious. What kind of institution is this? Alex Owusu says, you are doing this because of issues of accommodation. Tell us the truth and stop these fabrication. Well, Alex, they are saying that it's because of COVID-19 restrictions. And Rashid Abdul Rahman says the problem is about your inability to provide feeding grants. Well, everybody seems to have a reason why. Some say feeding grants, some say it's because of accommodation. Or what more are people saying? Let's scroll up a little bit, take a bit more of your responses. Why wait until the day the students are to report to school before coming out with this apology? Have you factored in the ordeal that teachers will have to go through because of this ill thought out policy? And a lot of you are asking why the GES had to wait until what you're calling the 11th hour. Let me head to the central region where there are many schools. So Richard, all right, so we will get back to our correspondent. I want to take a very quick break, but you do know that we have big stories coming up later today. You don't want to go anywhere. We'll tell you about the story, the gruesome story, rather, of an 11-year-old who was killed by 2 teenagers. Well, today they were remanded, and the family members of the boy who was killed are contesting the ages of those involved, the suspects involved. They say that they don't believe they are minors. We'll also tell you why the Energy Ministry is insisting what is happening with your power supply at home and at work is not doomsday. They are saying that